You look familiar.
Who are you? I could ask you the same question. But what I want to know is, did you stumble upon some weird glowing-looking hole? You fell through it or walked through it, and you're finding that your world is not quite the same. Would I be right? Probably. I thought so. So, how can I help you? Guns. Any kind of guns. Follow me.
Hello there everybody, it's me, the Canadian Movie Buff, with a review of John Wick Chapter 3. Shortly after being excommunicated from all Continental services, John Wick must use all his focus, commitment, and sheer will to outsmart the dozens of assassins coming from the $14 million bounty on his head. What makes the success of the John Wick series interesting is that they're not based on a pre-existing property or an adaptation of any comic book or novel. It's a rarity in this day and age where almost every single movie is a remake or adaptation of some sort. Not to mention, it spawns from the production company that made young adult novels a household name. The real kicker is that it has managed to dodge sequel rot with each installment. Usually when an original movie gets a sequel, that sequel is more or less trying to cash in on the success of the first one rather than be a continuation of the first one. In Mr. Wick's case, each installment has been better than the last. It does help that they have the same creative team behind every single movie, and the movies lead into each other like chapters of a book, hence the chapter moniker. But every good franchise, no matter how untouchable it may seem, does get hit with a follow-up that may not have been as good as the one that came before it. While I didn't think Chapter 3 was as good as Chapter 2, for us fans of Mr. Wick, we can pacha magnitudin. Now the story wastes no time kicking off, putting us right back into New York with John Wick having 1 hour to spare before all services are cut off from him for good. That paranoia is amplified when he's running through Times Square trying to see what services he can access before the time runs out. Trying to get medical supplies, guns, anything. Even before his time runs out, he runs into trouble. There's a scene where he goes to the library and has to fight an assassin. And let me just say, the way he kills him is, one for the books. The action set pieces are amazing, with each one feeling very unique in its own style. Like the knife fight in the hallway feels very close-knit and also extremely brutal. A fight scene with the horses in the barn and he's using the horses to sort of help him out in the fight. Later on when he's riding down the streets of New York and the motorcycle gang is coming after him, each action sequence has their own set of style and own set of usage to it. It was a nice way of blending the action into the progression of the story. And just when you thought you knew everything about this little criminal underworld, it just expands even further. Across the sea to Morocco, where we encounter Sophia, Halle Berry's character. More on that in a moment, but the amount of detail they put into how this system works and how it's structured worldwide. A whole world of underlying assassins and continental hotels. Now back to Halle Berry and her character of Sophia. She is a welcome addition to the series, and I personally wouldn't mind if she came back for a sequel or maybe even a spin-off. I'm going to say sequel for now because we don't want Lionsgate getting carried away with creating so many spin-offs. She's accompanied by 2 dogs, proving that every assassin in the John Wick universe has some love for dogs. The Morocco fight, by the way, is it is probably the peak action sequence of the movie. The camera work is so smooth and fluid. The way it tracks and moves with the action is so well done, you would hardly notice if there was a cut. It switches back between the different actions without you getting a headache or any quick cut edits. It just pulls the camera back and lets the action breathe and speak for itself. And on the subplot with Winston and the Continental back in New York, it's clear that Mr. Wick's actions have sent shockwaves throughout the entire underworld. Other people are suffering from the consequence of his actions, and it's very clear that the high table is out for Mr. Wick's blood. Now, in terms of the story, don't get me wrong, the script is well written, but when we get to the end, it feels like we were more or less back where we started. It feels like we haven't gotten the big showdown yet. It feels like there's a lot more coming. I guess it makes sense that this is called Parabellum, Prepare for War. I mean, this is the preparation, and the next one will be the actual war itself. Looking at the first 2 chapters, how he went from he just wants revenge, to going from he has to do this favor, and now he's done this, and now he's on the run, you don't really get that sort of progression in there. It's like, okay, he's on the run. Still on the run. Still on the run. And oh look, this final showdown? Never mind, he's still on the run. And while I love me some good John Wick action, the fight scenes felt like they were dragged on. We get it, these guys are really good at beating the crap out of each other. Just someone kill someone already. By the way, when I saw this movie, the theater was packed, and every time a dog bit another guy's balls, a bunch of the guys would just laugh and go, oh, dang. Looking back on how all this started, it's amazing how far the John Wick movies have come. With this one ending with a bigger event on the horizon, there's no stopping the Baba Yaga. I say it's not as good as Chapter 2, but it's the second best of the trilogy. And I think that's a fair and acceptable position. Grab yourself a suit and head on down to catch it multiple times at the theater or on Blu-ray.
Follow me this way. I don't keep a lot of weapons here, but this should do the trick. It has 25 rounds per magazine. Very precise. If you don't fancy the grip, you can always take it apart. As you can see, it allows for more ambidextrous handling. While the stock does help, taking it apart allows for more free-range firing. For more rapid-fire close combat.